Has Donald Trump failed the American people on the UFO issue? There has never been a better opportunity within American history for a president to talk positively about the UFO issue than there is now. Not only that, but by Trump failing to sufficiently talk about the UFO issue, he is choosing, whether he's conscious of it or not, to miss out on one of the greatest legacies any president could possibly have. That being talking about the UFO issue consistently and in depth. We know the UFOs are real. Ask David Fravor. Ask Ryan Graves. Ask Danny Acoin. We know it's real, so why is he not talking about it? Before I go deeper into the colossal mistake that President Trump is making, I want to go over some political figures who have done what President Trump is failing to do. On April 2nd, 2014, former President Bill Clinton went on the Jimmy Kimmel Show and stated the following. We know there are billions of stars and planets literally out there, and the universe is getting bigger. In the last 2 years, more than 20 planets have been identified outside our solar system that seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone. On March 24th, 2016, former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton went on the Jimmy Kimmel Show and communicated that if she was elected president, she would do the following. And this is a direct quote from her. Go into those UFO files and hopefully make as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there. If there's something there, unless it's a threat to national security, I think we ought to share it with the public. On April 19, 2016, Hillary Clinton went on the radio show The Breakfast Club. And on it, radio personality Charlamagne the God asked her, when you become president, are you really going to tell the American public the truth about UFOs? Hillary responded, yes. And she goes on to explain, part of why I'm going to do this is because I'm curious and I want to know what the UFO files have to say about the truth on UFOs. Then Charlamagne the God asked her, and do you believe the phenomenon is real? Hillary responded, I don't know. I want to look into the UFO files and see what they have to say. But enough people have stories of seeing UFOs that she doesn't think that they're all just sitting around the kitchen table making stories up. Hillary goes on to say, people see things, what they see, I don't know, but we really ought to give the American people information so that they have a better understanding of what's going on. That is the right course of action. It was a meaningful exchange, and I hope President Trump follows in these footsteps. I hope other politicians follow in these footsteps, because it really makes no sense ignoring this subject when it's about a phenomenon that is 100% real, totally exists, and throughout the entire world impacts people probably on a daily basis, whether that be impacting them physically, mentally, and perhaps even spiritually. In the 2 years leading up to the presidential election, presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton spoke so much about the UFO issue that there were 400 articles written up about it. Here is John Podesta in 2002 at the National Press Club talking about the right of the American people to know what the American government has discovered in their investigations on the UFO presence.
I think it's time to open the books on questions that have remained in the dark, on the question of government investigations of UFOs. It's time to find out what the truth really is that's out there. We ought to do it really because it's right. We ought to do it because the American people, quite frankly, can handle the truth. And we ought to do it because it's the law.
Here's John Podesta's famous regret tweet. He published this on the way out the door of being President Obama's advisor for 14 months. Finally, my biggest failure of 2014, once again not securing the disclosure of the UFO files. Hashtag the truth is still out there, CC at New York Times Dowd. Why are you not tweeting about the aliens, Trump? Could you imagine how he could raise the awareness on this issue if he wanted to? Here is an example of what he could do, but for some reason doesn't. Have you listened to what our great Navy pilots have been saying about their encounters with UAP in 2004 off the coast of San Diego and in 2015 off the eastern seaboard? As the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military, I pledge to get to the bottom of it. Going to be huge. Recently, presidential hopeful Andrew Yang was asked by the Conway Daily Sun what he thinks about UFOs. Here's how he answered. I'm very curious about UFOs. I have a feeling they probably do exist. By contrast, on December 19th, 2017, just 3 days after the New York Times revealed that the close of Project Blue Book was not the last effort by the United States government to study UFOs, President Trump's press secretary was asked the following question. Jordan?
Thanks, Sarah. I actually want to ask about UFOs. Several media reports this week disclosed that. Sorry, it's UFOs.
I was going to say, I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I feel like I already want to pass on this question, given that you've got aliens sitting among you.
Several media reports disclosed the existence of a secret Pentagon program that was researching UFOs. Funding ran out for that in 2012. Does the president believe in the existence of UFOs, and would he be interested in restoring funding for that program?
Somehow that question hasn't come up in our back and forth over the last couple days, but I will check into that and be happy to circle back.
Very unfortunately, we never heard back from Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. On June 15, 2019, George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America asked President Trump about UFOs.
You and I, we know we disagree about that, but we have a whole day ahead to go on this. Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information in the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. Have you been briefed on that? What do you make of it?
I have. I think it's probably... I want them to think whatever they think. They do say, I mean, I've seen and I've read and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Days later, Trump went on the Tucker Carlson show and reiterated his position.
You gave an interview the other day in which you said you've been briefed on unidentified flying objects. Are they real?
Well, I don't want to really get into it too much, but personally, I tend to doubt it.
I will say that without question, it is disappointing that in the most opportune time in American history for a president to take the lead on the UFO issue, President Trump has done nothing, as far as I can see, but to minimize the issue. On September 6, 2019, a bombshell article was published in Politico titled, Navy Withholding Data on UFO Sightings, Congressman Says. Essentially, the article is about Representative Mark Walker's frustration that the Navy has not been forthcoming regarding recent reports of UAPs engaging in speeds and maneuvers that are not thought to be possible even in today's technological age. In this article, journalist Brian Bender records the following. In a recent interview, Walker said he believes Congress needs to know what more the military has been doing since the Advanced Aerospace Identification Program set up by Reed was officially wound down in 2012. Has it ended? If it has ended, are we documenting anything? Where are the resources coming from? Walker asked. That's a fair question that constituents and the American people would like to know. Walker told Politico that his abiding interest is mainly out of concern that a potential adversary like Russia or China could have leapfrogged the United States in aerospace technology. If the Navy believes that China or Russia possesses advanced aerospace technologies that represent a national security vulnerability, the American people have the right to know what their government is doing about it, he said in his statement to Politico. In the recent interview, Walker, a former pastor, also acknowledged that he is open to the possibility that there are no easy explanations, or the answers could change how humanity perceives the known universe. The way I look at this, what if U.S. government agencies already do know about it, but the rest of us don't? He added. I certainly have an open mind to see where this leads us. We are going to stay on the issue and follow through like we said we wanted to do. Now, I wish Trump was engaging the issue in a way that's similar to Mark Walker. He has every opportunity to do so. Finally, on September 10th, 2019, John Greenwald of the Black Vault published an article covering a statement he received from Joseph Gradisher, official spokesperson for the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Information Warfare. He stated that the 3 videos released to the Stars Academy are in fact showcasing unidentified aerial phenomena. He used that exact phraseology. Gradisher explains that UAP is a descriptor for sightings and observations of unauthorized and unidentified aircraft for objects that have been observed entering, operating in the airspace of various military-controlled training ranges. So now we have the Navy officially going on the record, giving unequivocal support for the 3 UAP videos that they indeed showcase unidentified aerial phenomena. And yet, President Trump is not engaging the phenomenon. Trump has 14 more months guaranteed in the White House. During that time frame, is he going to begin talking about the UAP issue in a serious way, raising awareness of the issue for the American public? Or, on the other hand, is he just going to ignore it as he basically has? I hope he doesn't ignore it, but I don't know what the future holds. Let me know what you think is going to happen regarding Trump and the UFO issue in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. Link is in the description below. Or you could even become a patron. Or you could just slap a like on this bad boy and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.